Good morning. I welcome you to the yet another session in American and colonial, post-colonial literature. So far we have been doing some poems by acclaimed writers. Now we go to some other literary pieces. The major share is given by written by Carol Shield, that you take your textbook, a somewhat a short story minded, a scarf written by Carol Shield, that you take your textbook and open page number 122, post-colonial and American literature. You know, this Carol Shield, her span of life 1935 to 2003 has been known as a Canadian writer. You know, Canada is a particular area in American continent, and this Canada has produced a big number of writers, and even the political ruling party, or what you call administrators, are dominated by Indians. Canada, you have plenty chance. Suppose you write international competitive exam, IELTS. After your degree, you can go to Canada easily there and become a great writer or a professional. Many number of students from Kerala reached Canada, and this writer has written plenty number of novels and short stories. And what some among the Orange Fish in 1989, this novel it published, and Various Miracles 1985, and she had been a recipient of several awards. First she got the Canada Council Major Award, National Magazine Award, even Short Story Award she has received, and has become the member of and a fellow of Royal Society. And it is to be noted, Carol Shield has published a biography on Jane Austen that you have to keep in memory. All of together, once we consider, Carol Shield is somewhat a greater writer than British writers in the language of English. Here you know a scarf, a beautiful story which is published. Her trip to New York and Washington and Baltimore. A small introduction given, page number 122 bottom. How the story has been developed, how the story has been. She prepares a third person character. That character's name is Retta Winters. Actually, Retta Winters symbolizes the writer. It represents, this character represents the writer. But she makes a third person to communicate to the readers. It is not the writer, but Retta Winters got different awards by writing beautiful pieces of literature. And she has been offered, Retta Winters has been offered a trip to New York and Washington and Baltimore, and where she gets different receptions. Meanwhile, she remembers to buy a scarf for her daughter. This is the evolution of thought of story, what is called a scarf, written by Carol Shield. You know, short story has always been an attractive realm of literature. Once I was a student of graduation, I used to read a lot of stories from which I do remember stories of Tagore, Rabindra Tagore. I don't know how many of you like and how many of you prefer Rabindra Tagore. I would say Tagore is the best ever lived story writer in India. That you have to select some stories written by Rabindra Tagore. Even I visited Vishwabharati University in Calcutta, Birbhum district, where he lived and died, and all the biographical sketches and eternal footprints of his life had been exhibited in Vishwabharati University. I had visited some years ago. I cannot easily forget his postmaster, a very beautiful story that everybody of your age should read. And Child's Return, the character Karen and Anugul, that I cannot easily forget. Plenty number of stories like that written by Tagore are kept in his collection. The second writer I would see, Kushwandu Singh stories. Kushwandu Singh, has been an editor of Indian newspaper, Indian Express for a long time, and has published, Kushwandu Singh has written very beautiful stories that you have to read. Even that story, stories are always a realm of what you call the center of consolation. Once you get disappointed, once you are dejected, definitely you will be isolated and sitting alone to listen good melodious songs, right? In the same way, some people who are disappointed would continuously read and read and read. Not merely poems, but they would read short stories. That which sometimes gives consolation, sometimes it would give what is called motivation, sometimes it would give a way of life. Even I have recently read one story that is related to China, where Zhong dynasty, that is a typical dynasty, and the character, the man is called Yong, Y-O-N-G, Yong. Has been no job at all for him. He asked his friend who is working in the palace of a king that whether he would get a job there. And Yong's friend promised, one day I would call you to the palace of the king, and the king definitely would give you a job. Anticipating this Yong, I read recently in one of the periodicals, which I remember now to communicate to you because you are graduate students. And I would say everybody should read stories and novels. Then only the taste of literature would be developed. If you are a sincere literary student, you have to read a lot. And reading only make you a perfect person in the field of literature. And what happens? The day became, our friend of Yong invited Yong to the palace, and he appeared in front of the king. And the king asked, okay, your friend told me about you everything. What type of skill that you have with you? Yong reported, my lord, I don't have any skills, but I am very truthful person. In the same, so in the last, the king told, okay, I would observe you for some time. You can be at present my guest in the palace. You live here for some time. When you are suitable, when you are propitious, when you are conditioned to be my employee, I would ask you to do something. Days passed. He has been given freedom to enjoy everything in the palace. He was living there with all the kingly pleasures. Whatever food he got, he was doing. And one day, king asked this young to report in front of him. Young appeared. My dear young, I am very much pleased with your character. Today I am in a particular situation. King asked young, today I find in my kingdom some areas dominated by some people, a particular village area. They do not give me tax at all. They do not give me whatever remuneration they have received from the court. They do not return to me. So I assigned you, go to the village, particular village, then find whatever tax they have to pay to be collected by you and put in our treasury. Since nobody else who is truthful here, I would say, you go and collect this money. I trust you very much. Young told, okay, my lord, I will do in favor of you. The following day, Young went to the distant village and called all the leaders of the village and asked, I am the representative of the king. I came here to collect the money you took as a loan from the palace, as well as the tax that you have to pay. Understanding the situation of the tribal village, Young understood these people are not ready to pay the tax, neither tax nor the loan amount. But some people, since a representative of the king came, no, some people paid some money back. But thinking, Young did what? Young retained the money, refunded the money to the people, and people wondered. People asked Young, why do you retain this money? Why you refund this money? Then he told, one day this will be compensated. I don't say anything. Your condition is very bad. I am going to the palace empty-handed. I have no money at all. I will report. Then he reported the king. King got very much angry. Why? A particular job assigned to you that you came empty-handed, without money, without tax. You are not a propitious person to be my guest in the palace. But Young reported, Oh my lord, oh my dear king, though I do not give you money from them, their condition is very bad. The children are living there without food. No nutritious food available. Even the youth have no job at all. These people have been suffering a lot. They do not have even shelters to live. It is very ashamed to be reported that they are the subjects of your palace. That is why I did not collect tax from them. But one thing I have collected. King wondered, what do you mean? What did you collect? What do you mean by that? My lord, I have collected all the people from the village, all the people's blessing on you. Blessing on me? In what sense you mean? Consequently, after some time, the neighboring king tried to attack this king. Finding no other place, I cut short the story, finding out no place to hide, this Young took the king to the village where so much money owed to the king and a tax not collected. But those innocent people were making a very hiding place for the king and the retinue, king and the people, royal people, and they lived underground very comfortably. Look that these people, though do not have anything to provide to the king, since they are truthful, trustful, they bless the king with high protection. Later, the king saved himself from the death. This is told. You know what I mean? That this type of stories that you read, consequently, your brain will be developed. This story of Young, I cannot easily forget it because I read this story within a stretch of time sitting together. So in this way, Scarf, though can be considered a small story, maybe the imaginative level or maybe the experience level. Now, our Rita Winters is automatically known to be a writer. The writer herself does not represent, but she creates another character, Rita Winters, and Rita Winters is the strong protagonist of the story. Now goes like that. Now you come to page number 123. You will get the apparatus given by the story. 2 years ago, I wrote a novel, Rita Winters. Actually, Rita Winters is a microcosmical representation of Carol Shield. And Carol Shield also had the same experience, but she gives representation to our Rita Winters. So it is written in the subjective method. Story goes like this. 2 years ago, I wrote a novel, underline novel. My publisher sent me on 3-city book tour, underline. Even some booksellers and book people, publishing companies would give bigger, what do you call, presentations or prizes to the writers. Even the doctors nowadays given prizes or presentation by the medical companies. All right. It is reported some doctors get a huge amount from medical companies by prescribing certain medicines. Only reported, not to my suggestion. So it is given there like that. Our publishing company tries to give a tour package to Rita Winters. A tour package, Kodaikanal, Ooty, Hyderabad. Just like she is assigned to visit with their cost of money, New York, Washington, Baltimore. It is a tour package given to Rita Winters because she published a new book which has been popular and sold among the people. My publisher sent me a very modest bit of promotion, you might see, but Scribano and Lawrence scarcely knew what to do with me. Scribano and Lawrence may be the company. I had never written a novel before. I am a middle-aged woman. Once they ask you to write a character sketch on Rita Winters, then you tell these points. First point, she is a middle-aged woman. Rita Winters' speciality. She is a middle-aged woman. Not at all remarkable looking. Means what? She is not like Aishwarya Rai, not like your feminine characters of movies. Aisha in what do you call Canada. I had never written remarkable looking, certainly not a media smart. If I have any reputation at all, it's being an editor scholar, not for producing to everyone amazement, fresh, bright, spring-type piece of fiction. So it was described by Publishers Weekly. Why this Rita Winters happens to be a popular? Because she published My Time Is Up, underline, that is the title of the book. My Time Is Up baffled everyone. Baffled means surprised. All right, this book particularly published by Carol Shield means Rita Winters baffled, surprised everybody. In its sparky sails everywhere, all people began to ask where this book will be getting, where shall we getting. It has a sparky seals. We had no idea who's buying it. I did not know. Mr. Scribano did not know. So it comes out of print. All right, the first edition is over. This book is over. And the publisher telling, probably young working girls, not the loneliness and insecurity. All people, young working class women might have collected from the shop, has been reading it. These words hurt my feelings slightly, then reviews good as they were subtly cheered me. The reviews seemed taken back and the slim novel passed my way, oddly appealing. The New York Times book review, Mrs. Winter's book is very much for the moment. So many publishers, so many book reviews have been reporting that this book is very great. Strangely, the New York people said, my husband, Rita Winters, married, having 2-3 children, and her husband is named Tom, advised me to take this prize. His position being the worthy novels pay close attention to the time to which they were suspended. Sometime years later, despite themselves, acquire permanent luster, I was not sure. As long time Denali Westman work, I had acquired a near clipping degree of critical appreciation. I understood perfectly well. There was something a little bit darling about my book. Means what? Everybody appreciated. All people liked my stories, and now it is out of stock. All people had words of praises. Page number 124. Our Rita Winters and Tom had 3 daughters that you underline. My 3 daughters, Nancy, Chris, and Nora. 3 characters, Nancy, Chris, Nora. All teenagers were happy about it because they were mentioned by the People magazine interview. Wherever television people coming to take an interview, my children are very happy because their names are also being popular. That was enough for them because Nancy's name, Christy's name, Nora's name mentioned in the interview, so they are very happy. That was enough for them. Handsome. Some people say, Chris is handsome, Nancy is handsome, Nora most literary of 3. Both Nancy, Chris are the advanced science class in general school. All the people who had been their friends had been appreciating them. And if Des the happy, if Alicia had decided to suicide, or if Roman had denied her affection, that was one of the messages of the stories. My daughters postulated maybe too much over the sweetness time, Alicia, and no one in her right mind would sing out Roman's ears. It won the Offender Prize. The book, My Time's Up, the novel has got Offender Prize. It is just like Booker Prize. It received Offender Prize. The money was very nice. Shackled the book, minor status. Clarence and Dorothy Offenden has established this prize. Underline. Probably one word question will be coming. Offender Prize was executed by dash. Then you write Clarence and Dorothy. All right, the Offenden Prize recognizes literary quality and honors, and Dorothy Clarence are good-hearted couple. Who are they, Dorothy and Clarence? They were very good people, but little jolly, simple in their judgment. Dorothy in particular is fond of repeating his recipe during a beginning and a middle and ending. It is that too much ask. After the award ceremony, Rita Winters now got what prize? What prize? Offenden Prize. Offenden Prize reception ceremony now over. She she was given ceremony. I told them how I shone among my peers those dabblers, not serious people. Dabblers means not serious. Converted to the pretension, who wrote without holding the reader in the mind, who played games of their own selfish amusement, who threw a mask of nair. Mask of nair means it is told, has been kept for a soldier, that every event, whether it was appropriate or not, it's heavens, she sang into Tom's ears, to find that sun is still exists in the world. Show me your fatwa, Mrs. Winters. Fatwa is a religious ruling that women should not go outside in strange hours. So all these are then the characters speak from My Time's Up, that Alisa is a character in My Time's Up. So after reading this book by the public, particularly teenagers, have a high price on my book, and even my own husband, even my own children are very, very proud of me, because in all my interviews, either by the printing press or by the television people, I mention about my husband and my children, and naturally all people begin to know about them. So everything was settled. Then I decided, as this Offenden Prize or the publisher gave me an opportunity to visit New York, Washington, Baltimore, then I decided to go and visit this place by myself. Then what is going to happen and what is going to see, still wait on the next class. We will continue. Thank you very much.